Hi, my name is Valerie Hernandez, and I have created a presentation on justice and equity for my doctorate course for DPA 720 at California Baptist University. For my first slide, I will be giving a broad definition of fairness and justice. Fairness is the quality of treating people equally in a way that is right or reasonable, which falls under the basic freedoms such as right to life, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the right to a fair trial, also equal rights and liberty, which is the idea that everyone should be treated fairly and have the same opportunities. Justice is defined as a philosophical concept that focuses on fairness, equity, and the rightful distribution of resources, which also falls under equality and the overall human rights of fairness among all cultures and ethnic groups, as well as, having an appropriate punishment for wrongdoings. Moving along to defining fairness and justice within the academic literature perspective, Aristotle defines justice as equals should be treated equally and unequals unequally, meaning individuals should be treated the same unless there are relevant differences in their circumstances that justify different treatment. It is not about giving everyone the same thing, but ensuring that individuals receive what is due to them based on their merit. Whereas John Rawls defines justice as social and economic inequalities are to be arranged so that they are the greatest benefit of the least advantaged, which he argues that justice is foundational to any society, and a fair system must prioritize equity and fairness. He created the veil of ignorance, which is a moral reasoning device that promotes impartial decision making, where the veil of ignorance is where no one knows their place in society, suggesting fairness for all. Everyone is equal, regardless of anyone's status. The difference principle is described as social and economic inequalities be arranged to benefit the least advantaged, which kind of goes against Aristotle's viewpoint. He believes individuals should receive justice based, I guess, on their merits of what they're able to provide to society, whereas John Rawls is like an equal playing field for all. Everyone is equal. There's no social class. Everyone has the same amount of money, but this is just like an idea of how society should work to have justice and fairness within that society. In this slide, I will be discussing public administration perspective on justice and fairness. Public administration's view on justice and fairness is all individuals and groups equally and without bias ensure that government policies and actions are implemented in a way that promotes equity and avoids discrimination. The journal article by Marissa Kelly, Theories of Justice and Street-Level Discretion, pinpoints how the organizational culture in today's society can implement their own theories of justice in less rule-centered organizations, whereas other bureaucrats are constrained by rules. Callie interviewed school teachers and EDD workers, two separate organizational entities that are impacted on the final delivery of providing services. I am quoting from her article here. In organizational culture, individual visions of justice become inconsequential. The article by Callie identifies how injustices can occur within organizations based on policies and freedoms that individuals have within their organization. I work for Los Angeles County Development Authority, and my vision of justice becomes not important due to the implementation of the administration plan and procedure that we must follow when providing services to those in need of housing. The admin plan trumps any vision of justice that I might perceive working there at LACDA. Perceptions of justice and fairness is how individuals subjectively view whether a situation, interaction, or outcome are considered equitable and morally right. The key aspects of perceived justice and fairness in public administration. I will be discussing 3 types of justices, which, distributive justice focuses on outcomes of a decision, fair and equitable across the board. Procedural justice examines fairness of the process in decision making. Everyone's voice is included. Interactional justice is concerned with how people are treated during interactions with respect and courtesy. Why perceptions of justice and fairness is important in public administration? Because being legitimate, having legitimacy within an organization upholds principles of justice, allowing the public to view the government as effective and legitimate. Being compliant, people will be more inclined to follow rules and regulations and believe that the system is fair. Social stability is a perception of injustices, which can lead to unrest and social conflict with the people that an organization or government is serving. Factors influencing perceptions of justice and fairness: being transparent, having clear communication with the public alleviates any mistrust about the organizational group. Being accountable, having accountability upholds government officials responsible for their actions. If there was anything that was done to the public, it must be addressed, just so that the public trusts that agency or government group. Impartiality avoids bias in decision making and resource allocation. It helps build trust with the public as well. And participation, providing opportunities for the citizens to voice their concerns, helps build that trust within the public with that organization or government entity. Implications of justice on the ethical performance of public administration are influenced by factors such as political interference, inadequate accountability, insufficient ethics training, lack of transparency, and a weak enforcement of ethical standards. Ensuring fairness, equity, and impartiality in decision making, which contributes to building public trust, legitimacy, and a positive perception of the government, guaranteeing that everyone is treated fairly. Prioritizing justice in public administration is essential for upholding ethical standards, build public trust, and ensuring that the government actions are perceived as fair and equitable by all citizens. How to approach issues of justice and equity. I find cater value audit to correlate with the CDC's stakeholder engagement and education evaluation. Within cater value audit, identify, assemble, and community fall under number 1 of the stakeholder engagement and education evaluation. It's pretty much identifying the issue, assembling the needed individuals to come together to help the community with such issue. Social, legal, and economic policy falls under number 2 of the stakeholder engagement education, which is policy analysis. Is pretty much creating that policy and that will benefit those individuals of said issue that it is affecting, and creating the most good out of those policies that can benefit the most people within that community. Number 3, strategy and policy development is pretty much the create process within cater values audit. It's pretty much creating and strategizing those policies that can be enacted and implemented within the community, which is technically, I feel, is number 3, 4, and 5 of the stakeholder engagement and education evaluation. And towards the end, it's pretty much building a coalition of individuals that want to pretty much create and agree to work together towards a common goal. I believe that this is the best way to improve government policies within a community by allowing the community to voice their concerns and getting their feedback with such policies that are being created. And this is my reference page. And I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.